The specialist. I have dedicated my professional life to the safeguarding of people and their lives. There are worldwide very many of us who do similar jobs, but I have developed something of an additional specialism. I give you an example. Imagine a ladder resting against the wall. Now imagine you go up one step. If you fall off that first rung, what happens? Probably nothing very much other than you get a scare. Now imagine you go up further, 2 or 3 steps. If you fall now, you might hurt your wrists and elbows as you try and buffer your fall. If you slide off awkwardly, there might be damage to your legs. There certainly will be parts of your body that turn black and blue. But tell me, how far do you have to walk up a ladder before a fall could turn fatal? How far before it most definitely will end in your death? There are countries in the world where the protection of people on ladders is discussed in official rules and regulations. But somebody had to work up the basis for these laws. People like me. This is only an example to give you an idea. But you see, in more ways than most imagine, I am a specialist in death. Many years ago, I fell into a niche. It was a development that I had not planned, having been rather busy forging my standard professional career. It was in the early 2000s, and I shared an office with a quiet design engineer, Daryl. He hardly ever spoke about anything other than work, but one morning Daryl was beside himself. His head bobbed like that of one of those wobbly-head dogs that were popular when I was a child in Germany, left to right, between his computer screen and the window out into the atrium. He muttered to himself, his hands in his lap. "Daryl," I quietly addressed him as I approached. Daryl continued in his erratic movements, not listening, not hearing me. "Daryl," I called louder. I closed the door to our office with a bang that made him shudder, and his head spun towards me. His eyes brimful of tears that did not want to fall, he looked at me, unseeing. "Daryl, what is wrong?" I huddled down in front of him so that I had to look up to his face. I did not want to intimidate him. Daryl sighed. "Tell me?" He shook his head left to right, faster and faster, till he managed to squeeze out an unnecessary no. His motion was making me dizzy. "I don't think you are okay. Do you want me to call somebody?" At that, his tears started flowing freely. Like a kid, he swiped at them with the back of his hand. Snot bubbled from his nose. He wiped it away with his shirt sleeve. His eyes forlornly focused on me. He started mumbling. It took some time before I realized he was repeating the same words over and over again. "She's gone," I thought I could hear him say. "Who's gone?" Eventually, he stopped mid-motion. There was a deep inhale, as if his lungs were empty and needed filling up with the desperation of the starving when it erupted. How his girlfriend of 4 years had packed her things, then told him that she had found somebody else who was taller, funnier, and better than him. With no prior signs that he had ever seen, she had left the previous evening, leaving Daryl in a heap. I was about to tell him that things weren't definite, that he would find his feet again before long, and that a brand new dating scene awaited him, when Daryl turned away from me. His next words chilled me to the core. "I am going to kill myself." My mind raced. What to say, what to do. How? My unexpected question brought his attention back to our conversation. "What?" I said, "How are you planning to do it?" His tears had stopped. "Why?" "I want to make sure that I'm not the one finding you." He stopped to consider this. Then he looked outside, where a milky sun lit the atrium a fraction brighter than the electrical light bulbs did. "I'm going to jump out the window." By that point, my mind had already switched into gear. I was a problem solver. No problem was too tricky to be solved by a few good questions and answers. "This window?" Daryl shrugged. I shook my head. "We're on the 3rd floor. So, not high enough. You might end up breaking all your bones. If you really want to kill yourself, you need to be higher up." Another glance out of our windows. "How high?" "I would go as high as 7th floor or even higher." He seemed to mull this over. "Accounts are on the 8th floor. I could go there."